I've lived in my northern Michigan home for more than 40 years. I'm 68 now, retired, and most of my days are spent tending my garden, fixing old tools, or enjoying the crackle of the fireplace my late wife and I built together back in 1979. That chimney has been part of my life longer than most of the people in the neighborhood. It kept my kids warm, hosted Christmas after Christmas, and stood firm through some of the worst winters Michigan has ever seen. It was never a problem until our new HOA president arrived. Her name was Karen, and she came in like a storm with a clipboard. She was younger, loud, and had the kind of confidence only people with very little actual experience seem to have. One morning, I opened my front door to find a bright notice taped over my doorbell, saying my chimney violated updated visual guidelines and needed to be shortened by 18 inches, along with a $75 fine. I laughed out loud. Imagine trying to shorten a 45-year-old brick chimney. I called the HOA office, thinking it was a joke or misunderstanding, but Karen answered herself. She had that tone slow, polite, but sharp underneath when she said, my chimney didn't fit the neighborhood's new aesthetic. I told her the chimney was built before the HOA even existed and was legally grandfathered in. She didn't like that answer and ended the call with a very tight, we'll see about that. A week later, I got another notice demanding a mandatory fireplace inspection by the HOA-approved inspector, a man named Todd DeFee, $300. Todd showed up an hour late in a rusted pickup, didn't even bring a ladder, and walked around the living room once. He didn't check the flue, didn't go outside, didn't take pictures. He only glanced at the chimney and declared it potentially hazardous. He then handed me a recommended repair card from a masonry company owned by, of course, Karen's cousin. Suddenly, everything became clear. This wasn't about aesthetics or safety. This was about money, control, and a little power trip. But they assumed I'd just roll over because I'm older. They didn't know me very well. A few days later, while I was raking leaves, Karen walked right onto my property without knocking and started taking pictures of the chimney like she was doing a crime scene report. She told me I needed to start repairs immediately or the HOA would escalate penalties. I reminded her again that the chimney was legally protected. She told me she'd take legal action if I kept resisting. At that point, I realized she was pushing harder than she had any right to, so I decided to fight back the honest, open way. No tricks, no hiding, no secret reveals. I called the state fire marshal's office. Not a private inspector, not someone from the HOA's list. The official governing authority for all fireplace and chimney safety in Michigan. I explained the situation, and they scheduled a real inspection, the kind where the person actually knows what they're doing. When the fire marshal arrived, he spent a full hour examining every brick, every line of mortar, the flue, the spark arrestor, and even the firebox. He told me wrote in his official report that my chimney was exceptionally well built, fully safe, and in better condition than many newer homes he'd inspected. He also mentioned that no HOA had the authority to override state safety approval or demand the use of a specific private inspector. I made 3 certified copies of his official report. The next HOA meeting was open to all homeowners. I attended, sitting quietly in the back until Karen brought up ongoing chimney violations. Before she could finish, I stood up and handed copies of the fire marshal's report to every board member. The room got real quiet when they saw the state seal and the words, no safety or compliance issues. Then, I explained, calmly and publicly, how the HOA-approved inspector spent 30 seconds in my living room, how he didn't examine anything, and how he pushed repairs from a company related to Karen's family. You could feel the temperature drop in the room. One of the older board members asked Karen directly if she knew about the inspector's connections. She stuttered. Someone else asked if she had the authority to override a state-level safety approval. She didn't answer. Then the treasurer spoke up and said the HOA shouldn't be forcing homeowners into questionable paid inspections. Within 10 minutes, the board voted to revoke all chimney complaints, remove Todd from the approved inspector list, and require Karen to step back from enforcement decisions. Outside, after the meeting, 3 neighbors shook my hand and thanked me for standing up, because they'd dealt with her nonsense too but were afraid to speak. From that day on, not only has no one bothered me about my chimney again, the HOA suddenly became very quiet and polite around me. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss more satisfying HOA and revenge stories. Your support means a lot.